Welcome to episode 39 of the 5-Minute Disasters podcast. Just a quick heads up before we get into the episode. This show is getting a new name. We're rebranding as Compact Disasters, part of the new Compact Histories network. You can find us at compactdisasters.com, which will take you straight to our new home under compacthistories.com. There's nothing for you to do, as the episodes will stay right here in your feed. Just look out for the new branding and links to the new website. Right, with that being said, let's get on with episode 39, Meltdown at 3 Mile Island. On the morning of the 28th of March 1979, residents near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, woke to the ordinary sounds of a working day, unaware that America's most serious nuclear accident was already unfolding. The 3 Mile Island nuclear generating station sat quietly on an island in the middle of the Susquehanna River. But inside Reactor 2, a series of technical failures and human mistakes were combining into a crisis that would shake public confidence in nuclear power for decades. It all began with a small malfunction, but as history often shows, disasters rarely come from a single mistake. In this case, it started with a stuck valve in the reactor's cooling system. The valve was designed to regulate the release of pressure and cooling water. But when it jammed open, vital coolant began to escape from the system, unseen by the plant's operators. In theory, the alarms should have been enough to alert the team to the problem. But the design of the control room, with its overwhelming number of indicators and confusing signals, led to misinterpretations. The crew, convinced the system was flooded with too much water rather than losing it, took steps that made the situation worse. They reduced the flow of cooling water, unknowingly allowing the reactor core to overheat. As coolant levels dropped, the fuel rods inside the reactor core began to heat beyond safe limits. This dangerous process, known as a partial meltdown, damaged the reactor and allowed radioactive gases to build up inside the containment structures. Fortunately, those containment systems largely did their job. Unlike later nuclear disasters such as Chernobyl or Fukushima, the structural defenses at 3 Mile Island prevented a catastrophic release of radiation into the environment. But small amounts of radioactive gas were vented to relieve internal pressure, and when word of the incident reached the public, panic was unavoidable. In the first few hours, plant officials and government agencies scrambled to understand the extent of the problem. Conflicting reports and technical jargon made it nearly impossible for the public to grasp what was happening. Some officials downplayed the risks, while others quietly prepared for the worst. Within days, new fears emerged. A hydrogen bubble had formed inside the reactor, raising concerns that it might explode. The image of a nuclear blast in central Pennsylvania was enough to set nerves on edge, even though experts later determined the hydrogen posed little risk of ignition. Despite the uncertainty, the damage was largely contained within the plant. But the crisis outside the gates was just beginning. Rumors spread, media helicopters hovered over the facility, and residents within a 5-mile radius were urged to stay indoors. Pregnant women and young children were advised to evacuate. Although the worst-case scenarios didn't materialize, the damage to public trust in nuclear energy was done. In the following months, investigations revealed a concerning combination of technical faults, poor operator training, and design flaws. It became clear that better safety protocols, clearer communication, and improved reactor systems were desperately needed. The 3 Mile Island incident didn't cause immediate deaths or widespread environmental devastation, but its psychological impact was enormous. It sparked protests across the United States, energized the anti-nuclear movement, and stalled the rapid expansion of nuclear power. Dozens of planned plants were cancelled or postponed, and those that did proceed faced stricter regulations and public scrutiny. The nuclear industry, once seen as the future of clean energy, found itself fighting to regain public trust. The disaster also exposed how fragile complex systems can be when small failures go unnoticed or misunderstood. Operators at 3 Mile Island had minutes to respond to cascading alarms, but the sheer complexity of the controls left them overwhelmed. In the years following the meltdown, sweeping changes were made. Reactor designs were modified, operator training became more rigorous, and control rooms were simplified to help prevent future misunderstandings. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission, heavily criticized for its oversight failures, tightened its regulations and monitoring of nuclear plants nationwide. 3 Mile Island's Unit 2 reactor, the site of the partial meltdown, was permanently shut down. Unit 1 continued to operate safely for decades, but eventually closed in 2019 due to economic factors and shifting energy policies. While no one was killed by the radiation release, debates about the long-term health effects continue. Some studies suggest increased cancer risks in the area, though others dispute the data. What remains undisputed is that 3 Mile Island fundamentally changed the way the world approached nuclear safety. The incident also had an undeniable influence on popular culture. Films like The China Syndrome, which coincidentally released just days before the meltdown, captured the growing fear of nuclear accidents. The timing fueled public anxiety and added to the scrutiny facing the nuclear industry. Today, the legacy of 3 Mile Island is a mixed one. For some, it's a cautionary tale of human error, technical failure, and the dangers of overconfidence in complex technology. For others, it's a reminder that even amid crisis, safety systems can prevent catastrophe, but only if they're properly maintained and understood. The incident slowed the growth of nuclear power in the US, but it also led to lasting improvements in plant design and crisis management. It forced governments, corporations, and engineers to confront uncomfortable truths about the limits of technology and the fallibility of human decision-making. The 3 Mile Island meltdown may not have been the most dramatic disaster in history, but its impact on energy policy, public trust, and safety culture was profound. A quiet but powerful reminder that even the most advanced systems are only as strong as the people who run them. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the 5-Minute Disasters podcast from 5minutedisasters.com. If you did, why not leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. If you would like to support us more directly, please consider buying us a coffee. Head on over to 5minutedisasters.com/coffee to see how. Also, please check out our other 5-minute podcasts. You will find them all at 5minuteproductions.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.